What is going on YouTube? This is Tyler from Mission VR, where it's my mission to bring you guys good quality VR content. So today we're going to be taking a look at a game that recently came out. It's been out on SideQuest for a little bit now, but had a recent Steam VR release, and that is Warplanes WWI Fighters. This game, it has a lot of really fun mechanics to it, and it's something that I quite frankly didn't expect to enjoy as much as I did. The game looked overall pretty polished, and I figured it would be just a fun adaptation of World War I fighters in VR, and it turned out to have some special moments that I really did not regret playing the game, and I highly suggest if you're into these type of games, you're going to enjoy some features in this one, absolutely. With that being said, make sure you guys do drop a like on this video and comment what you thought about this review and whether or not you are going to be picking up this game. Also, drop a sub. I'm doing a ton of VR game reviews, VR hardware reviews, and news, and just anything VR related. I'm a VR super enthusiast, so I really do enjoy bringing you guys the content. So without further ado, we're going to hop into our content section first, as that's what I always start with, as it's the most important for any game you're playing, is what you're actually getting. So first up with our content section here, I want to talk about the price of this game. $14.99 is what you are going to be paying for it, and is there enough content to justify that price? Well, actually in this game, I was pleasantly surprised with the level of content that was in it. It had enough to do that I felt that $14.99 would absolutely be a worthwhile price for paying for this game. And the missions overall, you could play in both sides of the faction, so whether you want to play as the Triple Entente or the Central Powers, you are able to do both. There's a different amount of planes per each, and each plane has its own unique play style, speed, weapons, all those things that allow you to really, diversify your arsenal of planes, if you will. The missions overall, I thought had a pretty good variety. They change from day to night, to targeting fighters, targeting bombers, targeting ships, targeting ground units, convoys, bases. There was definitely enough to do to keep you coming back and keep you grinding for, better planes and upgrading those planes. Now, one feature that I really enjoyed in the content section here is just the overall, when you buy a plane and then you move on to a new plane, maybe you want to try a different plane, you can actually fly with all of your other planes in kind of like a wingman formation, which I really thought was an enjoyable feature to this game, is the fact that you can kind of, stockpile yourself up a small army whenever you're going into combat. That definitely gives you that feeling of working towards something as, hey, I want to fly in with, all these bombers and, all these fighters and really just go to town on, an enemy blimp or enemy fighter squadron. It's definitely kept you coming back to continue to play. And on top of that, there's an upgrade system so that you can upgrade your actual plane's components, which allows you to do more damage, turn faster, have your engine go and make your plane overall faster. There's just some nice features to the upgrade system that, again, keeps you wanting to keep playing the missions. And the missions have enough variety in them that you're not really going to get super bored of them anytime relatively fast, which is, I think, a really good thing for the overall content. Now, when it comes to multiplayer, there is multiplayer in this game. They have everything from co-op to raids, which is a series of missions, and PvP. Now, unfortunately, I did not get to play any PvP because there was really nobody online, which was disappointing to me. I was hoping there'd be more people, but hopefully as the game grows, there will be some PvP, because I think this game could have some really magical PvP moments. The ability to pull out your flare gun in this game is by far and large, I think, the best feature that they added. It may not be realistic because this thing is pretty much a freaking rocket launcher in your hands as a pistol, and it's okay that it's not that realistic because this mechanic is so much fun to play this game with. When you're flying by an enemy fighter and you just pull out this freaking flare gun and you just light them up midair, you feel amazing. It feels really good, and you just want to keep doing it. And I found that the planes with a lot of flares were some of the most fun ones to play. Now, another feature that I really liked was the bombing in this game. You have bombs and you stockpile them like in your cockpit, and you have to reach in, grab one, and drop it over the side of your plane. I really thought this was another awesome feature. It just creates some gameplay loops where you're flying real low to the ground in a convoy and you kind of just tilt your plane to the side and drop a bomb out the side. It felt really nice, and overall again, gives you that feeling of kind of being a badass pilot whenever you're shooting down planes with a flare gun, dropping bombs out of the side, barrel rolling over to the left. Nobody can shoot you down. It really just feels satisfying. The game overall, I think, has a very satisfying feel, and with the level of content that's in it, I think they can absolutely justify the price of $14.99. It's not a ton of money, and you're definitely going to sink, I mean, at bare minimum, you're going to sink at least 3 to 6 hours into this game, and that's if you're really being, fringy with it. You can definitely put a lot more hours into this, and I think that as the game grows and PvP becomes available, being able to shoot down other players real time with a flare gun, that is going to be a lot of fun, and I think that there's definitely something to be said about the replay value in that, and I do hope that the game grows so that it does have a good, strong player base, especially on the multiplayer side of things. So when it comes to our overall sound design, I felt that the game did lack just a little bit in this department. The music was kind of repetitive, to say the least, and on top of that, the engine sounds I didn't feel were loud enough if you cranked them all the way up. The gun sounds really weren't loud enough if you cranked them all the way up. It didn't take you out of the game. It didn't take you out of the immersion. I mean, the sounds were average. I didn't say that, didn't think that they were great, but they were average. They got the job done. I would have preferred for them to be a little bit louder, as, when I'm in virtual reality, I kind of like to crank the sound up as if I would actually be flying a plane up in the air like that. So definitely something I think that they could have improved on was the loudness of the sounds and maybe just a little bit of the bass of the sounds. But overall, I can't really complain too much because they still did the job and they weren't absolutely terrible. So when it comes to the graphics of this game, overall, I feel that they actually did a pretty solid job, especially for a title that started out as a side quest game. Overall, the graphics are pretty solid. The cockpit graphics, I think, look pretty good. It feels like you're in a plane. You don't really notice anything that is out of the ordinary. I wouldn't say that they're next gen or groundbreaking, anything like that. But overall, I think the cockpit graphics do a good job. Some of the subtleties of like your plane gauges actually moving based on what speed or what you're doing, I really did enjoy that. The bullet holes that show up on your plane as you're getting shot at, definitely another one of those things that can increase your immersion factor in a game like this, and there's no doubt about it. I really did enjoy the night maps, feeling, especially when you're defending a town and you could see the spotlight shining up and the flak artillery going into the sky. It definitely gives you the feeling of a war environment. And then when you're flying and you look over the side of the plane and you see that the moonlight is reflecting off of like a river below you, it is really, really pretty. And as I said before, that there is not a ton of screen door effect in this game. It's not something that is super noticeable, even at the long distances where you're going to be like, oh, I'm definitely playing in a video game. There are moments that you kind of forget about that and you just get lost in the immersion of the game itself and you're just focusing on the task at hand. I really did enjoy some of the lens flares that you got when you're looking at the sun or the moon, and they just kind of show up. It's just the subtlest things like that I think really did a good job immersing you into this title, especially for an indie game. I have nothing to complain about the graphics. Overall, I think they did a pretty good job. There's definitely some room for improvement, but again, it's an indie game. This isn't a AAA developed game, and they keep you immersed, and I think that's all that we really care about in a virtual reality game. So finally, with our verdict here, I would have to say that if you are a fan of World War I era and you're just a fan of flight games in VR in general, this game is going to be amazing for you. And even if you're not a fan of World War I per se, but you like flight games, or maybe you've never really played a flight game in VR, this game has some subtleties that really just nail it. And one of my favorite features is just the ability to actually control the plane with your hands, and it does feel like that because you can take your hands off the joystick, off the throttle, grab your pistol off the side, shoot somebody down, look over the side of the plane. It just doesn't feel as locked in as like if you were using HOTAS controls, which they do have available in the game if you want to play that way. But overall, I think playing with the motion controllers is kind of the way to go here, and it definitely deserves that. The game's not super hard with it, and I actually really thought that the controls for open hand motion controllers to control a plane were really good. If you play a game like No Man's Sky, it can be really difficult to control your starship in that game with the open hand controllers like that. I found that there's a lot of drifting. You have a really hard time locking on enemy targets in a lot of times when I've played flight games. This game didn't have that problem. I felt that there was enough of a kind of I guess sensitivity that it didn't feel like I ever lost control of my plane whenever I was playing. I really did enjoy that. I think that this game overall, if you are a fan of flight games or just looking for a new VR game to play that you're going to be able to sink a couple hours into, this game is absolutely going to be it. You're going to really enjoy it, and for the price tag of $14.99, you really can't complain. It's a great title. Well, guys, that is it for this video. I hope you guys found it helpful, and let me know in the comment section below if you're going to be picking up World War I Warplanes, and it is a overall really good game. So I hope to see you guys in the skies above. Please do drop a like on this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next one.